through the West Virginia countryside. Suddenly, without warning, their automobile began to experience mechanical difficulties.
Honey, what's wrong with the car?
I have no idea.
As they were sitting there stranded along this lonely country road, George suddenly noticed a very strange light coming through the trees.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. We just had this thing tuned up last week.
Well, where are we going to find a gas station at this time of night?
I don't know. Well, would you look at that?
It was a glowing, kind of globular mass of light that was shining through the trees. So they're both looking at this thing, like wondering, what the heck is that?
I haven't the foggiest idea. There's got to be some explanation for that. I'm gonna go find out what it is.
Wait, George, don't go. I'm scared.
What?
Not only did they spot this strange light in the distance,
I will be right back.
but Mr. Statowski noticed that suddenly there was this eerie kind of stillness that suddenly pervaded
We're
the air.
stranded. We've got to get some help here. What?
Wait, shh. That's weird. Shh. Don't you hear that? It got quiet all of a sudden. Don't you hear it? It's silent.
No. I don't hear anything. Maybe you're just hearing things. All right? Don't worry. I'll be right back. Okay?
Okay.
Not far from where he'd left his family, Mr. Snitowski was astonished to see a brilliant red globe of light hovering over the nearby trees. And just as Mrs. May and the boys had reported at Flatwoods, he also noticed a foul stench in the air, a strange metallic odor that seared his nostrils. While George was mesmerized by the brightly glowing UFO, his wife and young daughter would soon learn that they were not alone.
What's wrong with us?
As the monster floated away into the mist surrounding the car, this night of terror, unknown alien terror, would never be forgotten.
Don't look! Don't look! What's happening?
While it is unclear as to what exactly did land at Flatwoods on this eventful night, it goes without question that many others had seen the same mysterious object fly over their towns as well.
1952 was the great year of UFO sightings in the United States. It was a situation where the phenomena had reached a crescendo that year that was unmatched in any prior year.
In France, like America, the flying saucer mystery makes headlines. A young Frenchman photographed this flying saucer, or is it, from a mountainside in central France.
And it culminated in several weekends in a row of UFOs being seen over the White House. This has been discussed by a lot of researchers. Essentially, you had attempted jet intercepts of these things, radar trackings, and front page of the New York Times, so it was a big deal.
In Washington, ghost-like objects dart across the radar screen at the CAA Traffic Control Center at National Airport for several hours, traveling more than 100 miles an hour. Air Force jet fighters spend several hours chasing the objects plotted on the radar scope.
Well, these things continue. There was a series of military sightings in the North Sea, known as Operation Mainbrace. And then, of course, there was the very great sensational case of the Flatwoods Monster in West Virginia.
My personal opinion, I'd just like to throw in, is that those none of those people were telling lies, those from Flatwoods especially, that the 400-odd other people whom we interviewed, including the young man who reported to the police number 3 incident, the crash, and those young farmers, were certainly not lying.
However, there have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve. We have, as of date, come to only one firm conclusion with respect to this remaining percentage, and that is that it does not contain any pattern of purpose or of consistency that we can relate to any conceivable threat to the United States.
What they don't show you...
In 2002, Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist and UFO author researcher, visited Flatwoods on the 50th anniversary of the legendary encounter. Addressing a modest gathering of UFO enthusiasts at the famous ridge where the pulsating light had been seen, those who were present paused to both listen and reflect on the significance of what happened there a half-century ago.
And going up last night to see the area, and I'd always been curious about that, why here, what was there. And when I found that that was the biggest flat space on high in the whole area, because of my work on Roswell, I was well aware, I'd talked to a number of pilots, if you're in trouble, you're looking for a flat place, close. You don't want to run into a mountain, you don't want to hit trees, any kind of a clearing, please, you know. And so when I saw the physical situation, then I could understand. Of course that would be where they would go. It's the highest point in the area. It's large enough to take whatever you got.
It was all true, and God knows that I wouldn't do anything and tell a big story like that just to get somebody riled up, scare them nearly to death. Well, there's people scared silly over it.
I think that, you know, some people believe, some disbelieve it, but it was a lot of, it was totally chaos at the time, chaotic. And there were so many people that made fun of it and everything. That's why, to this day, this is the first time I've ever talked about it.
Something did happen that day in our life, that thing went over and came down on that hill. That did happen, and I don't know why, just another day in our life, you know.
Okay, here we are in 52. The Russians have already tested more than one A-bomb now. We've been testing bombs like crazy all this time. You know, when I started digging into it, I think it was a very significant event. Something was going on in the world. The one thing I can come up with is that things were heating up in Korea. Another war, lots of people being killed. Remember, there was talk about nuclear weapons being used in that war. And I've often maintained that one of the reasons the aliens would be concerned with us is that at the end of World War II, here were nuclear weapons, V-2 rockets, powerful radar.
But there's no doubt in my mind something went over that night because too many people saw an object go over.
The community really didn't want to talk about it for years. And even right now, there are people who tend to put me down because I do publicize the monster, but I think it's part of our heritage. Whether it was real or whether it wasn't real, and as I've said before, I do believe it was real, it is still part of our heritage.
This is something that the people who live here, they believe. Too many people saw it, and too many people believed that what they saw was something real, not a meteor.
Can you imagine being a young boy on that Indian summer day so long ago, playing football, and suddenly you see an eerie fireball-like object shooting across the sky, and amazingly it lands on a hilltop in the West Virginia countryside?
Whoa, look at it! Whoa, it's a fireball! Let's get it out of here.
It probably doesn't get more mysterious nor terrifying than that.
Well, a lot of people made fun of them. They didn't believe them. But I knew myself that they saw something. They saw what I first saw go over Burnsville. So I know there was something there.
When this story broke, it stretched the imagination of many people the world over. And the story has been told and retold in just about every country in the world.
It was a shadow-like thing to me, moved. And there was something that was there. There was something that was there. There's no doubt in my mind. But I'll be daggone if I can put a finger on it. And everybody that was there seen something. But to make up a story like that, it ain't no way, you know? That's not going to happen.
What do you think about the skeptics who believe that the monster was an owl?
Oh, I don't see it.
They should have been there and seen it themselves.
Yes. Yeah, they would have known that it wasn't an owl. I didn't even hear an owl.
But this thing came up to the bottom of those top branches on that tree. Whatever this thing was, it moved. And ain't no owl gonna do that, you know.
This is something that the people who live here, they believe. Too many people saw it, and too many people believed that what they saw was something real, not a meteor. They don't believe it was a hoax. They feel sure in their hearts and minds that it was something unexplainable that was never explained to their satisfaction.
There was definitely something unusual happened at that time, at that place. It wasn't what we were expecting to see. I mean, we were expecting to see something that we'd recognize, you know. And to see something like that, it'd blow anybody's mind, to tell you the truth about it, you know. Yes, it was definitely something there that is unexplainable.